So I saw a lot of you guys want a new team building guide because the last one was quite a few years ago. And also this video right here, trash. I'm sorry that any of you guys had to witness that. To be honest, I'm sorry any of you guys had to witness the old OP because his entire channel back then was garbage. I can't believe I even did anything with it. Nowadays, since I've actually learned how to create content, let me tell you how to team build. And it's real easy, very simple. You got Juno, put her on the team. You got Mako, put her on the team. There you go. Everybody else doesn't matter. Those two, that's it. We're done. Get out of here. Hello? Yeah, I just finished recording it. Yeah, I just told him that, you know, put Mako on the team. What, I can't do that? But it's the truth, though. You actually want me to make a well-structured and comprehensive guide on how to team build a Grand Summoners. I better get a raise from this. Team building in GS is a very broad topic, to be honest. There's so many ways that you could actually build a team. You could go for nuking, which we have a video on, by the way. Sometimes you're building a team comp to specifically counter a super hard boss, and it's really not just like a one-shoe-fits-all type of deal. Team building varies from situation to situation, but what I can do is actually give you the basic guidelines for pretty much all of it. And let's start at the core. A team usually consists of 2 Archgeners, or 2 supports, and the other 2 units usually have a damage dealer, and then the last unit I want to say is flex. Whether you want a luck unit, whether you want a tank, whether you want more damage, whether you want another healer, it's completely up to you what that final unit is. And this pretty much carries through the entire game, by the way. Whether you're doing sustain, whether you're doing raids, mines, doesn't really matter. It's usually always this type of setup. Not all the time, of course. There is some exceptions to this. But for the most part, it's always in this realm of 2 supports, damage dealer, flex position. The only time this structure really doesn't apply is if you're doing an extremely hard event, so you need to counter that boss, or you're nuking. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't do other team comps. Of course, experiment and see what you like a lot. But even with that team structure, there's something else that needs to be stated. One thing that is also very crucial in Grand Summoners that a lot of people just kind of put under the radar until you actually get to playing the game is the equipment slots. Of course, I won't get into it very deep here because I don't want this video to be like an hour long of me explaining this. But pretty much put it simple. You want to make sure that the units you're putting on your team actually have decent equipment slots. If you are running an entire team and no one has a support item slot, you're gonna have some problems. This is what I would recommend for everybody out there. I would say you're doing pretty well if you at least have 2 support slots on your team and then possibly a defense item slot or a heal item slot. If you have all of those, I would say your team looking pretty good. Oh, I'm tired. So we got the basic structure down. We got the equipment down. Is there anything else? And there is some stuff that I do want to add. And I know a lot of this information sounds very general and broad, but this is literally the best way to explain it without me doing it for you. So what I'll do is take the philosophy that I have when building a team comp and build one for you right now. And we're going to do a sustain comp just so we can keep it simple. So the easiest thing to always do in any team comp is identify either the attacker that you want, aka the star player. Whoever you want to build the team around, go ahead, put them on the team. So you know what? Let's say I'm going to put on Gray. Why not? Gray's one of the most recent characters that I got, so we'll build a team around him. So now we have Gray on the team, and we know that Gray is going to be the one that we want to use. No matter what, we want him on the team. So now since we got that out of the way, we can say that he's probably our attacker. We can pick out 2 supports, which usually I would say Mako if you have her. She can fit literally anywhere. No matter what, Mako is always a great option. Of course, if you don't have something like this, you could do just another support unit. You could use Finn. You could use Weaver. You could use, hell, I guess even Dark Finn if you wanted to. Just any type of support unit that's going to be able to provide Archgen to your team. Which, by the way, whenever I'm talking about support units, I usually do mean Archgeners. If they can do other stuff too, that's great. But the main thing we're looking for is Archgen. As for our next support unit, you can either go more in on this healing and Archgen role if you want to, or you could go with something that's just straight Archgen. Just whatever you want. Just somebody's going to give Archgen as well. So that's why, since Gray is a human, Mako is a human, we're going to be running Haruto with them both. And with this right here, we already have insane amounts of Archgen and damage just with these 2 units and Gray. But you know what? This last position, I don't think I really need a tank. If I need a tank, I would use someone like Thetis or something like that. But I think I want a crit buffer. So I'm going to add Vox to this to end it all off. And there you go. That's literally how I do it. And as you can see, we have 3 support slots on the team. We have a lot of variety in our equipment. And with this variety of equips, we have a lot of options to tackle pretty much any situation in the game. And the good thing is about this team comp, or whenever you make setups like this, is that really half of the team you can use on any team, right? And what I mean by that is that Mako and Haruto, you could technically use them on any team that you wanted to. Of course, as long as there's no other type B Archgener. And another thing good about this team specifically is that the only unit we would have to switch out most of the time would be our flex unit, which is Vox. If we needed more tanking, we could put on Sistina. If we actually needed a tank, we go with Thetis. So there's a lot of ways for you to do it, and that's like a very simple, broad way of handling it. As far as like what equips you should be running in a team composition and something especially like this, pretty much support items is always AoE support. If you can have AoE Archgen, you live in the high life. As for the attackers and stuff like that, if you're in sustain, anything that's going to be giving you Archgen will be helping you. After that, it's completely up to you. So yeah, that's that. That is my general description of team building nowadays. And it's definitely a lot shorter of a video than my first team building video. God, that video was terrible. Pretty much just read the units. Make sure that you're putting on units that are cohesive to each other. Make sure that you're using units that are actually benefiting from one another. And realize that it's not just a one-man job. Being able to create team comps and Grand Summoners is one of the biggest strengths you can have as a player. And I think one of the hardest skills to master because there's just so much stuff you can consider. But if you can ever master it, or at least get a good understanding of team building in the game, this game is going to be so much easier for you whether you have top tier units or not. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you all for coming out. Comment down below if you guys have any other statements you would like to add to the team building conversation. I'll be reading them. And if you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend you check out either one of my Grand Summoners videos popping up on your screen right now. All of them are great. And to be honest, since I talked about team building in this video, you may want to go check out the Archgen type video just to make sure that whenever you're using your double supports, they're actually able to stack Archgen with each other. But thank you all for coming out again. And oh yeah, before you leave, don't forget to drink water.